Welcome to Mental Millennials with your host, Shelby Friesen.
Today, I've got Meaghan Gipps on the show, and we're going to be talking about bipolar, anxiety, kind of figuring out what you were dealing with. I guess I'll let you take it and kind of explain what bipolar is, and then we can go through what it took to figure out everything that was happening.
Well, first, thank you for starting this podcast. I've also seen a huge difference in when I first met you years ago into who you are now. So good job.
Thank you.
So I struggled with bipolar and also anxiety, depression, kind of a shitstorm of things. But in high school, I was very sensitive. That's when I first noticing that my emotions were a bit different than other people's.
Okay.
And, but I did have a great high school and elementary school. There was no big issues, but I remember feeling like something is off here. And then when I was 16 or 17, I would talk to my mom about it, I don't think something's right. And I want to talk to the doctor about it. And she was just kind of okay, well, let's go. And we went, and she was with me when we first went to the doctor. And I remember I just had lunch with my mom today, and she was saying, I remember that first doctor's visit because my doctor at the time, she just said, oh, you're just going through puberty. You're just a teenager, kind of. And so that's the first thing you hear when you open up about how you're feeling. That's not the first thing you want to hear. And I knew that this was something more than just being a teenager, but it wasn't too bad yet. So I was just, on my way. And then probably early 20s was when the depression really hit. And I was dating my boyfriend at the time, and I was very sensitive, and I just got to the point where I didn't think that this world I wasn't supposed to be in this world. Something, I was just I don't think I should be here. I don't think I'm supposed to be here. I don't think I belong in some way. And so the first time I opened up to my boyfriend, he immediately drove me to the walk-in clinic. And it's so weird. They give you, I don't know if they've ever given you a sheet where you just 1 to 5, do you,
I think I did do one of those.
Are you depressed?
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird, and you just, I don't know.
It's odd, yeah. I feel like I had to do one of those when I first went to talk about anxiety and shit. It's probably the same thing, and it's just you kind of fill it out. I'm
yeah, and it just seems weird.
It's a high school test, but for, I don't know, if you want to die.
Yeah, and it's weird because I was I want to die, but it's but I don't know, it's but I want help. And I was I don't want to die. So I remember doing that thing, and all of it, I was extreme, not good. And he just immediately was I'm going to send you to the hospital, and we're going to put you on the psych ward. So that was my first time at the psych ward, which was weird because it was involuntarily almost.
You didn't want to go?
No, I did want to go.
Oh,
I didn't want to go to the psych ward, but I was I need help.
Yeah, okay. So I guess just really quickly, when you were 16, and that's when you first went to the doctor about not feeling right, and then when you were 20, it hit really hard. What kind of happened between then? Was it just...
everything... I don't know. I think everything was
did you keep going to the doctor? Did you kind of just stop going and just ride it out?
Yeah, I went to therapy once, and it was not for me.
Oh yeah, you want to tell that story.
I was 17 years old and went to my first therapy counselor appointment, and I walked in, and she opened this treasure chest of toys that were all animals, and she was pick what animal you feel picking or something.
Yeah.
So I picked a tiger or something. And then for the next half hour, she just dissected the fact that I chose that one.
Yeah.
And I was I'm not 12 here. I'm about to graduate high school, and I don't know, maybe that works for some people, but I was just I don't want to be here, and I'm confused because I'm just holding a toy and whatever. But I feel I did. I feel I was pretty anxious those years. I moved to Australia, and I did pretty good there. I moved there by myself.
When did you do that?
I was 18 years old. I just graduated high school, and I just bought a one-way ticket to Australia, and it was so good for me. everything seemed good. And like, that's a pretty cool thing to do when you're young and like that sensitive and like anxious. And I really like got out of my comfort system. It was great.
So it wasn't all bad.
No. Like,
okay.
Yeah. My life was like really good. Yeah. And then I don't know, I just don't know what changed, but I just all of a sudden started just like feeling nothingness at times and feeling like I would just like stare at a wall for like 2 hours and just feel nothing. And I don't know, that's so depressing. But yeah, and then after the psych ward visit, I was put on some medication.
So it was pretty abrupt, would you say, like coming?
Yeah, it's so weird because it's so fuzzy thinking about those days.
Yeah, it's hard to tell or remember.
Like you think I would have a better like story of remembering whatever of that, but I don't.
Yeah, it's normal.
I guess. But then and then a couple months passed maybe, and that's when like bipolar tendencies started happening. And because I don't know if this is for sure, but I think bipolar for most people comes up in like young adult, early 20s, and that's what it.
I feel like a lot of things are like that.
Yeah, totally.
So they put you on some stuff after the psych ward. What was it like in there? Like how long were you in there for the first time? Because I remember, well, for me, that was like the thing I was scared of the most. Every time I thought I was going fucking insane, I was so scared to go to the doctor because I'm like, they're going to put me in this fucking place. I'm never going to leave. And I thought like, I was just so scared of like getting locked in there for the rest of my life or something. I don't know. I was like, what if they even if I'm not crazy, what if they think I am and they put me in there and like, I don't even fucking know. I was just get so freaked out about it.
It was kind of like the movies in a sense. Like there, I don't know, like there was people like schizophrenic people that were like kind of screaming in the hallways that would have to be put in those rooms with like just pads around the whatever. And I felt like, I would never say this now, but I was like, I'm not crazy. Like maybe I shouldn't be here. But like, what I was going through was still a mental illness and I still need help and it was different, but it was weird. Like they wake you up at like 7 a.m. and then everyone has breakfast together in this one room. And I was like, I don't want to go like just sit there and just, I don't know, like talk to other people. And we're all going through some shit right now. Like nobody really wants to be here. Yeah. And like, I don't want to have breakfast with everyone. I don't know. It was just weird. And then you have like different classes. Like they would do like a yoga class or they would just like talk about different things. I don't know. And you would have like counseling and stuff.
So it's almost like a high school.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Or like college almost.
Yeah, and but it's weird. There's like different levels, and the first level is like you have to wear like a gown, not a gown, like a medical thing.
Yeah,
like you would if you're like getting treated in the ER or whatever. And I hated that. I felt like I was in prison, walking around in this like uniform, and I was like, I don't feel myself. This is making me feel even more crazy. Yeah. And then, but after like a couple days, if you're doing well, then they'll like up you so that you can wear your own clothes, but you're not allowed phones in there. You're not allowed cords, like phone chargers or like belts. Nothing. Yeah, no shoelaces because
they have like TVs or anything, or you just kind of chill and read.
Yeah, they have like a TV in one room or whatever, but
it's like communal.
Yeah.
So how long were you in there for the first time?
I think the first time I was in there about a week. Yeah, so not too long, but I mean, it feels like a very long time.
Oh yeah, I could imagine.
Yeah, and then I did think that everything was kind of getting better. I don't know, it's so blurry. And then I started to go to university and changes started happening, and all of a sudden I would get these really high highs and low lows, which was bipolar. And
how long would they last for? Like, say you were like high, would it be for like 10 minutes or like 10 hours or different every time?
Kind of different, but mostly like at 10 hours or just like days even where like.
It'd be really good for like days and then you'd be like, pfft.
Yeah. And there's like hypomania and mania is the more intense one where like you see in movies or whatever where people like think they can fly or whatever. Like they'll like jump off a building or something because they think they can fly. Like that's like a intense mania. And then there's hypomania, which is more like just irritable, restless, like you talking all the time, like you'll like clean your room. Like there's good parts about it. I like looking back and I was like, I enjoyed that because that's when I got shit done. But it was also times when I would make really bad decisions. You don't think of consequences, so you'll spend a lot of money. You'll, message people random stuff that you like the next day. You're like, why did I do that?
But even like, you're not like influenced by alcohol or anything. It's just like.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, sometimes I would be like hypomania episodes and I would get drunk, and then like that was not a good mix either.
Even worse.
I would definitely like hook up with someone without that I wouldn't normally.
Yeah, yeah.
Or make bad decisions. I would, take drugs if somebody offered them, or I would, anything that was like, it was like kind of like I was like anything that would give me dopamine or whatever. I was just like wanted it more.
Yeah.
So lots of like 3 a.m. like I would be having this like hypomania feeling, which I didn't know was that at the time. I thought I was just like getting shit done and happy. And I would like go to the store and buy bleach, like hair bleach, and just dye my hair.
So it would like affect your sleep and stuff too?
Yeah, a lot of it's like insomnia. Like
you'd just be sitting there for like 2 days straight doing crazy shit.
Yeah, exactly. So another thing was like I would break up with my boyfriend at the time. I put him through so much shit. Like relationships when you deal with bipolar is really difficult for both people. And how a lot of people just kind of say, oh, like my ex is crazy or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can see why they would say that because, they probably hurt you and like it's so up and down.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe they need help.
Yeah. I get like he knew that you had it.
No, because I didn't really know. Like I knew I was on antipsychotic medicine. And
that was after the psych ward and everything. You still weren't like fully sure. You were just kind of living and experiencing that stuff.
Yeah. Like my psychiatrist was never really upfront about it. So I just told people I was like depressed or whatever. And then I would be like, yeah, no, I'm good now. And I would make all these bad decisions, getting tattoos.
So did you actually think you thought you were depressed and didn't have bipolar?
Yeah, I thought I was just in a good mood.
Oh, so then it was kind of, that would make it almost worse because you'd just be like, oh, I'm not depressed for 3 days, and you're like happy, and then you don't really understand. Yeah, you're kind of like dealing with not the opposite thing, but a little bit different.
Totally, yeah. And I would break up with him, and then 2 days later, I would get back together with him. Like it was just such a roller coaster of emotions for all my friends, my family, my boyfriend at the time.
How long term was it? Like how long did it last? The relationship?
Was a year. We broke up and got back together like 10 times, like not actually 10, but like a lot of times. And
maybe more than 10.
Yeah. And it was actually like, I would start dating other people. I told this guy after a week I loved him. Like I was just impulse. Like he was like, what? And and then that guy that I was dating from school broke up with me. And then I just ran back to my ex because it was just like so intense. And these emotions, you just constantly on to the next thing. So yeah, I like ruined a lot of relationships and things with that.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
So then when did you start to realize what it was?
I knew that, I could talk a bit about like the suicide attempts that happened, because that was a big like, holy shit, this is something I really need to take care of. Sometimes when I'd be depressed, or I still haven't figured it all out, but like sometimes I would just take like a bunch of pills. Like I was on a bunch of medication. If I was just in the wrong state of mind, I was very sensitive. I would walk, it'd be like, what's it called? Walking on water? No, walking on eggshells with people. Like if they would say the wrong thing, I would just like blow up. And freak out and just say I want to kill myself, like, ugh, dramatic.
Yeah, just like you would kind of overuse it.
Totally, yeah. But it was kind of like a cry for help in a way, you know? And so sometimes I like would take a bunch of pills, and then I would just like immediately call like the ambulance or text a friend, like I fucked up, and I would like freak out.
So like you would do it, but then you would call the ambulance yourself right away. So you weren't actually wanting to commit suicide. I feel like if you really, if you actually wanted to, you would have never called.
Exactly.
But so you were more
the last time I didn't call, and it was
okay.
But yeah, I would because it was like a cry for help. Like I was like, I want to do this, but I don't want to do this. Like, I don't know. So this one time at the last time, I took like 50 pills, and they were like strong amount of medication in each of them, and I like texted a couple of friends saying goodbye, which is like so dramatic. Yeah. And then I just like went to bed. My mom checked on me like really early in the morning, because I probably went to bed really late that night because I was out drinking too. And my mom came to like check on me, and she laid down with me. This is when I was living at home, and she saw I was having a seizure, and my like eyes were rolling back or whatever. So she immediately like told my dad and was like, call the ambulance. And then ambulance came, like had another seizure. I woke up in the ICU. Basically, wow, I'm saying so much. I'm so sorry.
I say like, wow, there you go.
Like
just,
all the time. Yeah. Yeah, I woke up in the ICU. I was in a coma because of it. My mom today, I was just having lunch with her and I was telling her I was going to do this. And she said, there was a time when she was in the ICU, she's like, what if she's brain dead? Like, what if she's not going to wake up? So that's really scary. And when I woke up in the ICU, I think that was like my aha moment. Like, I never want to do this again. Cause like that time, like I could, like they told me if my mom didn't notice me having the seizure, like I would not be here today. So that was the time where I was like, okay, I never want to do this again. Like I'm never putting myself in this position.
I don't know. It's pretty extreme.
Yeah. But I guess like so I don't know. That's when I like went to my psychiatrist and was like, okay, we really got to figure out this like medication system or whatever.
Because when you were in the ICU in the like how long were you in a coma for?
Like 24 hours.
Oh, that's quite a while still.
Yeah,
and was
something
it,
like that.
They didn't induce you into one?
No, they did, yeah.
Oh, they did, okay.
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. And I remember I woke up the next day and I was like completely fine. Like I was like not even sad. I remember Tessa came to visit me in the ICU and I was just like, yeah, what's up? Yeah, I tried to kill myself. Like that's when I think I could like kind of I can't even say the word disassociation.
Yeah.
Or like I think I was kind of doing that, like just not even dealing with it.
Yeah.
I think. Or I was just like kind of in a manic episode again where I was just like, yeah, I'm great.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, also like when you personally have those feelings all the time, like, well, not all the time, but you were, I think it just doesn't seem that extreme to you either, right? It's like for you to say that, it's like, how many times in your head have you thought like, I want to die or I'm going to kill myself?
Yeah,
like
so
just to say that, like I tried to do that, like it's not that extreme to you.
Exactly. But I was like thinking, now that I'm thinking like, oh, in her eyes, she was probably like, what is happening? You know, but she was great. So.
Yeah, that's good. So then after that, you went back to your psychiatrist and got different. Kind
of, yeah. After that, I started getting better, I think. It's so blurry. Like, I don't even remember this. I think this was 2015 or 2016. Like, I don't know. But I think it was still a while where I was going through ups and downs, but not as dramatic. And it takes a long time to get the medication you're on right. Like, and after like a year of figuring out the medication, I was finally like at a stable mood. But then there was 2 years, which were like more recent, where I felt like nothing. I didn't feel highs or lows. I felt like so numb for 2 years, but I thought it was normal because I was like, I don't want to kill myself and I'm not feeling this manic. I'm not feeling mania. So this must be just how everybody else lives, like a robot. And it took me a long time to realize that like, this isn't perfect or right either, but it's better than...
Yeah, you kind of went from like the one extreme to the other.
Exactly.
Instead of like landing somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
One other quick question. Did they ever tell you to like not drink?
They told me all the time.
Oh.
I said, no drinking, no drugs. And I said, yeah. You know, when they're like, how many like beverages do you have a week?
Yeah.
Like, I lied.
You just said 0 every time.
Yeah, or I'd say like a glass of wine.
Yeah, okay. I was like, fuck, it's weird they wouldn't say that, but okay.
Oh, yeah, I was not allowed to be, you should not be drinking a medication.
Yeah.
Period, but,
Yeah, okay.
You don't want to listen to the doctors a lot of times.
No. Well, especially at like that age, it's when everyone is out kind of partying and having fun, and you're just kind of like, well, maybe you sit at home and like, I don't know, it makes you even feel more maybe weird that you can't participate.
Exactly.
The 2 years, so it was like 2 years that it took you to kind of realize then you weren't feeling anything.
Yeah, like I remember like I didn't cry for so long, and I used to be a person that cried all the time, and I like missed crying. Like I was like, I wanted to watch like a sad movie just so I could cry, but I still couldn't. Like I couldn't. I also lost my sex drive, which is really shitty. And you know, you lose like that happiness. I would try to hang with my friends, but I felt like I had to like put on a face. Like I had to like pretend I was like laughing and enjoying my time, but I was like feeling numb.
Yeah.
And that's like actually really shitty, but.
Yeah, I had that too after I don't know, like the morning I woke up when I was super fucked up, and it like finally, I don't know, after all my shit built up and hit me, I woke up And like, I couldn't feel anything for so long, like the same thing. I remember that day, it was my birthday, and my parents were doing a birthday dinner for me. And I just texted my dad and I was like, man, like, I'm sorry, but like, I know you guys put this huge dinner together and everyone's going, but like, I can't come. I was like, there's not a fucking chance. I'm fucked. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Can't have conversations with people.
I couldn't do anything. And I just remember sitting there, like, and I must have watched 3 movies in a row, and I was just looking at the TV and like, I couldn't even pay attention. I couldn't laugh. I couldn't cry. I couldn't like, I literally felt nothing. I was just staring at it like, what the fuck is going on? And that lasted like a long time, but it wasn't from medication. It was just from like whatever I fucked up in my brain.
Totally.
But same feeling. And it's really weird because I remember I would be like I was so fucked up, I wanted to cry. I'm like, I know what's going on. Like, I feel like I'm dead, but I'm just sitting there like, I don't know. It's really weird.
And yeah, and I feel like not a lot of people talk about like that kind of stuff because I just thought, oh, I'm cured. So like, this is fine. But it wasn't fine because I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear a lot of stories about people who experience that, like with any kind of, I feel like it's any drug related to a mental health issue, whether it's for like anxiety, depression. I mean, a lot of those ones are mixed. You take them for both, but same thing. People get on them and then 6 months later or a year or whatever it is, they realize they can't feel anything.
And like, I want to reiterate that medication did probably save my life. So as much as like I kind of like have some hate for it, I think it is so important and helpful for a lot of people. And it was for myself to like regulate my mood. But yeah, maybe.
Do you still take it?
I still do take medication, but a way less amount than I used to. So I still have to like take medication every morning, but it's not as much.
Yeah.
But I got my sex drive back, so like, go team. Yeah, and I have emotions like normal people now, I think, or not normal people, but like I do feel highs and lows, like regular.
That's good. So when you had that medication for the 2 years, did you just take the same stuff and like dial it down, or did you switch, or how did you kind of like get out of that situation of not feeling anything?
Well, there's 2 things. I did dial it down, but I also, like, I think I was telling you this over the phone, like when my grandpa died, like at the beginning of this year, I feel like that like really like cracked it back open, like having emotions again. And I don't know the scientific like facts around that, or like if that even makes any sense. But like I was starting to feel a bit more emotion like the like 6 months leading up to that, but I still didn't feel like my like true self and like how I have emotions. And then I completely broke down with that, and somehow ever since then I've like been able to access emotions and feelings and like creativity way more. So
that wasn't even like a change in medication. That was just like,
no, that was just like situational, I guess.
Yeah.
I think that was more of like me, like, I don't know, like me protecting my emotions maybe.
Yeah, because like stuff can get stuck, like energy and stuff can get stuck in your body, and then like some crazy situation or, thing like that can let it all free again or whatever happens, right? Maybe it just got to the point where you couldn't hold it back anymore, and then boom, everything started flowing again. Yeah,
it's like you have to break down fully to like be able to like move forward and your own self. I don't know, maybe that's it. But another thing I want to point out, like I did the 2 years that I didn't feel anything, I relied on marijuana like way too much because when I smoked weed, I could feel again mostly. Like like TV shows were better, like just, it's marijuana. Like TV shows were better, like funnier. I could maybe, I don't think I could cry, but like I could feel. Food tasted better. I feel like the 2 years, like food just didn't taste as good. And like life was more exciting when I like smoked weed. But so I smoked weed almost like every night for 2 years, which is like, shouldn't do it. And I remember thinking there was no problem with it, but I was like, wait, maybe this is a problem. So I don't smoke weed as much now.
No.
Yeah, like way less. But I do think weed had so many benefits because it actually like really helped me feel again. Or in those moments.
So
but
you didn't get anything negative from it though?
No, I mean, I ate a lot. I like weight gain probably from the medication, and I gained weight because I would like smoke. Like when you smoke weed, you just want to eat.
Yeah, true.
So that was bad. And it would be like nice to not rely on, a substance every day.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. I don't know, where are we at in the story? What do you,
The thing is, it's, like what I was saying before is like, my story isn't like beginning, middle, end. Like there's so many like sub stories within it. And I still haven't even like, figured it all out.
And so, like you're still working with it.
Yeah. Like I'm still like, but I am, but I feel like now it's just like a normal amount of like pain and anxiety. Like, you know, I don't think it's like I don't know. I still have days where like I don't want to leave the bed for days, kind of, but it's not like as bad as that sounds, I think. But I still have like problems with like procrastination and like yada yada. And then I have days where I feel very productive. But yeah, like when I was going through that bipolar shit, I was like, would put shit off for so long. Like I remember working for Ride at the time, and like I would do videos for them, and I'd be like, or so excited about projects. Like it really fucked up my work life because I would be so excited about projects, or I would shoot blah blah blah, and then I like couldn't touch it for months. Like for some reason, I just like couldn't get it completed, and it was like because I just didn't want to do anything. It was like really bad. So sorry.
That I could. Yeah, I mean, it really affected everything.
I was like, I wouldn't want to hire myself.
No. Yeah, that's because I guess like so every couple days you would have like just be up and down and all over the place.
So it's hard to like control,
especially and when you're working for yourself too.
Yeah, it's like there's pros and cons about that.
Because you've been working for yourself like for most of this time, right?
Yeah, ever since I graduated from BCIT in 2015, I have, and I think it's been a great thing for like my mental illness. And also like a really bad thing because it's easier to push back deadlines. And if I'm like feeling depressed and don't want to do work this week, then it's sadly like I won't do work. But if I worked for somebody, maybe that would be different. So I don't know.
Yeah, I find the same problem as well because I'll do the same shit. It's like if I mostly do it with like drinking though. That's why I try not to drink much anymore because I get so depressed and like anxious from it that I'll just kill a whole week. Like I'll drink on Saturday. I'll literally be dying on Sunday. And then I just won't feel like doing anything till Thursday. And since I don't fucking have to go to work, well, like I should, I should get up and at least do something. I'll literally just lay there for 3 days and do nothing.
You know, you can push it off.
And it makes it worse too. Like I feel like if I had to get up and go and do something, it would like fight it off faster. But you almost like give into that depression, and then it kind of just takes over more. It's
laying like a scary cycle.
Yeah, instead of because I remember before when I had jobs and stuff, like I'd be hungover and feel like shit, not want to do that, but you get up and halfway through the day you're like, okay, whatever, this isn't even bad.
You have to show up.
You just do it. But I think it definitely makes it worse giving in and just laying there all day doing nothing.
Totally. And I think we've talked about this before. What helps me to this day now is like eating healthier, which I still don't always do, but like eating a lot more vegetables and stuff, and like cutting out bread and like pasta and stuff has really helped carbs. My energy state. And doing yoga, like I think it's really good to like find a hobby if you're feeling depressed, which is so hard to do because when you're depressed, you know, when people are like, oh, like just go walk or like go for a run or go for a hike or go outside, like find a hobby. Like when people tell you that, it's like when you're depressed, it's like you don't want to get out of bed, and it's like just getting there is the hardest part. So it's just, it's kind of annoying when people are just like, well, just get up and go work out. And it's like, the problem is like, I can't.
It's hard because for it to be beneficial, you have to do it when it sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's hard to find that drive, right? It's not just like, okay, I'm just going to do yoga like when I feel good in 3 days. It's like, no, I'm going to do it for these 3 days when I feel fucked because it's going to make it better. And like, I even notice it now. Like I wouldn't say, I'm better than I've ever been, but I still notice it. Like if I don't do yoga and like even 10 minutes of meditation or something during the day, I notice how much different that I feel.
Yeah. And you always have to remember that when you're in the lows.
Like. Yeah. And even me now, like some mornings I wake up and I'm like, fuck, I don't want to do that shit. And it's like, it's only, really it's 20 minutes. Like I'm either going to do that or I'm just going to sit in bed. What's the difference? So, but it's really,
a mind game.
It's really hard to like make yourself do those things, especially in the lows when, in my opinion, it's most important to make sure that you do them.
Definitely. So like what I was saying about having a hobby, like find something that drives you, that makes you excited, like makes you feel like a little kid again. And that's a really good way to like get out and feel excited about something because, not everyone has a job they love. And I love my job, but sometimes like it stresses me the fuck out. And,
Yeah.
So yeah, not that I'm like a big yoga person or anything, but for me to find something where I would show up to every day, and it's nice because I can reserve my spot online. So it's like you have to show up.
Yeah, you kind of like pre-commit to it.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you meet a friend, like I have a friend that we go together a lot, so that's nice. Like the other day we were supposed to go in the morning, and I like woke up and I was like, you know what, I don't really want to wake up and get out of bed. And he's like, yeah, I'm either. He's like, actually, wait, let's do it, let's go. And then I was like, okay, and I went, and I was so glad I did, but I was gonna just stay in bed. So
yeah, I feel like you're always have, like, I don't think I've ever gotten up and went to do like yoga or any sort of physical activity and regretted it after.
I know.
There's
exactly.
never a time where I'm like, fuck, I really wish I didn't do that. It's like you always feel so good.
Yeah, it's just the getting there and starting.
Yeah. And just keeping consistent. Like the more you do it, the easier it is every time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but I think being able to pre-commit like that is really good too. And having the person, like for me too, if I have someone who's like, yeah, let's like go to the gym in the morning at 7 or whatever time we go, it's so easy.
Yeah, when you have another person to
you don't want to let them down either.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to talk a bit about anxiety too.
Okay.
Just because I just I don't know if I heard this on a podcast or in therapy or something, but whenever you feel anxious, it's so easy to like, when you have that feeling, you want to run away from that feeling. Like nobody wants to feel anxious. So I'm like learning to, instead of like run away from that feeling, because it's like so hard to even do that, but all you want to do is when you feel anxious, like you don't want to feel that anymore.
Yeah.
So if you try to look at it as like you welcome that anxiety now and you say like, I'm here for you, and like kind of look at it as another person inside of you and like hold it and like hold you tight and like be like, I'm here for you. Like kind of, I don't know. I'm really bad at explaining things, just but like that's helped me a bit.
Being, I don't know, like just accepting the feeling and not trying to fight it off all the time.
Exactly. Like sitting there and just accept that anxiety. And sometimes then you'll like find the root of it, when you welcome it and like,
Yeah, like just fully feel into it and just kind of like see where it's coming from and all that stuff. And then you can usually,
it's easier to break it down.
Yeah, that's a good approach to it.
Yeah, I was like, nice.
So how long have you been doing that for?
Like just that kind of, just like recently.
Yeah.
Like, I like heard it on a podcast. I think it was like Alexis Haynes or Alexis Rains. I don't know. I don't remember her last name. But I think she brought it up and I was like, wow, that's such a good way to look at it. Because everyone's like scared of anxiety, but like what if we like welcome that feeling and, break it down and I don't know.
Yeah, it's just getting comfortable with it. And then usually anxiety is just trying to tell you something, like that you're doing something wrong or like it's just like if I were to think back on my life of everything that like when I had anxiety and when it was the worst, like it's literally just trying to guide you to like a healthier life and like realistically. But I mean, listening to it's still hard. And it's just kind of building that awareness around it too, right? Like most people don't really know what it is or what the feeling is. So it's really hard to tell what to do with it. Totally. So it takes time.
Did you have like anxiety attacks too? Or
like panic attacks?
Yeah. Like, I haven't had those in like years, but that was like a really scary feeling. And people would be like, well, what's wrong? Like, why are you anxious? And I could never figure out the reason. Like I would always be like, I don't know.
Well, that's the difference between anxiety and panic attacks. It's like anxiety, you can usually know why you have it, right? Like it's sort of pinned to something. Like
a test or
to something where you're like either going out like socially or you drank and now you're hungover and anxious or I don't know, you have to public speak or whatever it is, right? You can usually link it, but a panic attack is when you don't know.
Yeah, okay.
It's just like, it just comes out of nowhere and you're like, holy shit, what's going on? Like you think you're going to die and the world's about to end. And they're usually shorter, right? Like a panic attack, I don't really know how to give it an average time limit, but I would say usually for me it would come on pretty strong and an average one be like, I don't know. It seems like forever when you're in it too, but I would say like 15 minutes would be a pretty like averagely long one maybe.
So panic attacks, would you be able to find the reason? Or was it like was it always like kind of a subconscious like?
No, I think a lot of mine were kind of like, honestly, maybe a little bit of like PTSD based. They would start out about something and then boom, it would just be like, mine were always kind of health related though. Like all of a sudden I would like feel something and then start freaking out. Like I remember one time like I literally had facial hair like this, and it just started like, it was at the point, like this is kind of like just when it starts getting itchy.
Right.
And I thought that my face was going numb from it. I was sitting there, I'm like, holy fuck, like, can I even feel my face? And I'm freaking out. And then all of a sudden, then I think I'm having a stroke. And like, then it just like takes over. And for like literally 50, and then I can't stop it. I'm like, holy shit, like what's going on? And I literally like think I'm dying. I don't even know. And
like
I would
your
just
mind makes its mind up.
yeah. And I would just like I would get it a lot of times about health stuff, or I mean, I would get them a lot when I was like hungover post drinking. Like my first one that I ever had, I was just sitting in town hall, and it just felt like I had no idea. I was just like, it just felt like the whole place was like caving in and just like taking on. I had to leave. I just went
scary
outside.
when it happens in public.
And then I even had one in Toronto like 2 years ago. I remember we went out there for a car show and we were all out at dinner, and I just started feeling it come on. And like when it happens, I just get really quiet and I'm just kind of sitting, I'm like looking around. And everyone's kind of like, at that point, someone asked me if I was okay. Cause like normally I'm like laughing and joking, and we were all there. And I was just like, fuck man, like I think I gotta go like sit outside. And we were already outside, like in downtown Toronto in this like patio restaurant. And all of a sudden I was just like, fuck, like I just gotta leave. And I got up and I just left, and I laid, like I walked into the middle of the street and just laid on top of this meridian and just looked like up into the sky. Cause like around me was just buildings, right? And I was like, I don't want to look at, I feel like I'm closed in. So I just wanted to look up into like the sky and see like open like nature, I guess, a little bit. And I just laid there for like 20 minutes. I was like, I don't know. And that one wasn't linked to health or dying. It was just like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's scary because in like those moments, you don't really like see, like understand your surroundings, or even if there's people there, because you're just so in that like, just like, fuck.
Yeah, it's almost like it's just like sucks you into your own head, you know? And then you're just like, holy fuck. And then it's like you're trying to, I don't know, it's almost like you're trying to escape your own head in some sense. I don't know.
I think they used to like scare me so much that I would be like, I need to go to the hospital. And then I would like get to the hospital, and you know when like the panic attack's over and you're like starting to feel better, and I'm just like sitting in the ER like waiting. Oh yeah. And I'm like, okay, wait, I want to go home now.
Oh yeah, I must have done that like 100 times. By the time
you feel like you're dying.
Yeah, by the time you get there, you put the dumbass wristband on, and I'm like, yeah, I'm literally gonna die. And like, okay, here's this thing, and then I sit there for 5 minutes, and I'm like, fuck this, I'm going home.
I know, yeah.
And then you leave.
Yeah. They're probably used to that.
And sometimes I would do it multiple times. Like I'd have a panic attack, and by the time I got back home, I'd have another one would start, and I would drive back. And I would go like through, I'd come back, I'd sit there, and then like I would do it 3 times before I went home or whatever. So sometimes it was like really bad and like would just rebound right away.
Yeah, that shit's scary.
Yeah.
Glad I haven't had that in a long time.
Yeah. I guess, so like, and like, what kind of yoga have you been doing actually? Is it like
mainly hot yoga?
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I don't know if like that, there's more like subcategories of that. Like I don't know too much, but like I started with just like a power class, which wasn't hot yoga. Like it was like heated, but not hot yoga. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to try hot yoga, which I thought I would hate. Cause like being in a hot steamy room sounds awful to me. Like I don't even like summer that much. But then I was like, wow, I fucking love this. Like,
yeah, I feel like you would probably feel pretty good at. I know a lot of people who like literally love it. Yeah. A couple of my buddies have gone, and like, man, like you literally feel so good after.
Oh, totally. Like, and I used to hate like everything to do with cheesy, like manifesting things, and like, you know, like I just kind of thought like yoga and meditation was like cheesy or whatever until you really get into it and you're like, dang, this is actually there's something.
Like you really, I mean, I was super skeptical on like everything, all that shit. And like my brother, like Jamie had done that shit for like a long time before me. And every time he'd be like, oh, I'm doing yoga, or like he'd say meditation. And I'm just like, dude, fuck off. I don't even want to hear that word. Like it's not real, shit's junk. Yeah. And like even yoga, like I've just recently started doing it too. And I was always kind of like, man, it's just like sitting there stretching and shit. Like, what does it matter? But like, I feel so good after. Yeah. But I think it takes a long time to build into it. And you just got to open up, and like, if you go into anything thinking it's stupid and not believing, like it's going to be stupid.
I know. Yeah. It's like you got to put 50% in it to like, in order to get that other 50% back. Like that was like when I tried therapy again. I was like, I'm going to go in this with a list of shit that even just like bullet points that maybe I should talk about. And I'm going to give it a chance because I didn't want to give it a chance. And I thought it was stupid.
Yeah.
But it ended up.
So with therapy too, like, is that something you do regularly now as well?
Yeah, like I was, and then I slowed down a bit. And now, like right now, I'm not going to do one for a couple months, I think, mainly because the guy I like is kind of expensive. And, but I don't feel like I really need it, even though I think it's still important to go, even though when you don't need it, it's still good to, talk about shit. But I started yoga and I'm finding that's like giving me a really good balance of like understanding myself. And I like try to go into every yoga class with a different intention. They kind of say like set an intention for this class, whether it's just like working on like, I'm going to think about like patience in life or like just my strength that I have or being proud of like progress, whether it's work related or mental health or whatever. It's like, and I used to hate all the cheesy things like that.
Yes. So like actually putting the work into it now.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Don't
just dismiss something until you not just try it, but like give the 50% in order to like get the 50%.
Yeah, you've got to put the work in for sure.
And with therapy, I think a good piece of advice I could give is to talk about what you don't want to talk about. Because like there is things in my life where I was like, it's fine. I do not want to talk about this. And then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna talk about this because I don't want to talk about this. And then I ended up it ended up opening so many doors of things I didn't know about myself.
So that would have been something that would make you like uncomfortable to talk about.
Oh yeah. Like I was sexually assaulted once and I was like, I don't think it affected me at all one bit. Like the moment, like the day after it happened, I was like, I'm just never going to think about this again. And just like, it's fine. And then, and even when I talked about it with a couple of my friends, I like could disassociate, I think whatever. I think I was just like, I could talk about it with a straight face or whatever and almost like laugh about it because I was like, that was fucked up. Like I would just say that and I'd move on. And so I went into therapy and I was like, I'm going to talk about this and I don't want to talk about it. And it hasn't affected me at all throughout the years. But I just want to say it. And then I like wrote it down in my notebook or whatever. And I like read out the story of what happened. And then I started bawling. And I was like, wait, maybe this does affect me. Or like there is more of a deeper issue. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think always pushing your comfort zone in like any scenario is good, right? Like even... Like I think even going to a yoga class for a lot of people alone is just pushing a comfort zone. You're showing up to a place with all these people. Like, I mean, going with a friend is a nice help at first, right? Because you know someone, but show up, you don't know anybody, and like you probably suck at yoga, so all that kind of stuff, right, is just like built up. But I mean, and even the therapy. I mean, I feel like there's still a lot of things in my life that I haven't talked about or just thought like, this doesn't really affect me. I'm actually curious to go to one and try it and see, because like a lot of people around me recently have been going, and I don't know, again, you just never know what might come up, right?
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be like super cheesy, like, live, laugh, love, like your journey, da da da. But I like got into some deep shit that like your subconscious like emotions, and I like realized a lot of me, there's a part of me that like protects me now with new things, like, so that's why like
there was probably definitely some protection built up around the assault and what happened with that, and then maybe, I don't know, obviously other things in life.
And like I don't want my family or friends to ever have to worry about me like they used to. Like I would, like, I feel so bad especially to my parents, like to like say I want to die all the time, and like I can't even imagine my child saying that. Or whenever I had panic attacks, they'd be so worried. And so now I never like want to like show sadness. I never want to show pain because I don't want to worry my friends or my family. But then, and I think that's why I also didn't really have like emotion in the past, whatever. That time, because I was too scared that I would like get back into the emotional roller coaster that I used to be. But it is important to feel the pain in order to like move through it.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And the psychiatrist you're seeing, or is it a psychiatrist or psychologist?
Therapist. Well, I do see a psychiatrist too. That's like gives the meds out.
So what's the difference? Yeah, so psychiatrists can give medication, psychologists can't.
Yeah, I don't know what the psychologist one. I don't know.
That's the two differences.
So is that like the therapist, the psychologist? I don't know. It's kind of.
I guess it just depends what kind of like degree or whatever.
Yeah. No, this guy can't or just doesn't.
Is he just a counselor?
Yeah, like just a counselor. Just like talk to me.
Yeah. Because the psychologist is the same thing. They just do more schooling, I think. Like technically they're more money. I think like if a counselor probably like $100 to $150, whereas like a psychologist is around $2, I think.
Well, yeah, the psychiatrist I go to is like the one at the psych ward in Maple Ridge, and his is more just like I go in, which I don't know if this is what they're supposed to do, but it seems more like go in, like be quick. I don't even talk about what I'm going through. I just like say like I'm doing good, or like I've been super anxious lately, and then he'll just like write on a piece of paper and hand it to me. Like I don't think it's like the best psychiatrist unless that's literally all they're supposed to do, but he doesn't ask a lot of questions. He just kind of like
more like a doctor for I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. So but that's not your therapist, obviously.
No, that's not the guy.
Yeah. Okay.
And then there's a guy that like downtown that I just like go in, and that's when I like can dive deep into like emotions and
How long you've been seeing that guy for?
A few months now.
Okay.
Yeah, and I remember after the first one, I thought I would like hate it. Because I don't think I like to talk about my emotions. I think when I was like going through all the bipolar and depression stuff, I not enjoyed, but I was so open about my emotions. Obviously, I told people I wanted to kill myself all the time. Like it was so dramatic. I would share my highs and lows, but now I just don't share anything, even to like a lot of my closest friends, but not because I don't like trust them. It's just I don't know how to like access those emotions as much as I used to. Like I'm getting better at it through like therapy and stuff, but like I said, I'm trying so hard to like protect myself. Like there's a little me inside of me that's like, like don't feel this or like don't share this and don't, you know, but I'm working on like, it's okay to feel normal emotions and pain. It's not all like the crazy roller coaster that I used to be on.
Yeah. So like you must be a little bit worried about, well, you said you're worried about family and stuff, worrying about you when you express those. So trying to like kind of rebuild those relationships a little bit for them to kind of, I don't know, maybe understand that you're okay now, or I don't really know.
Right. And it's weird because I've noticed whenever someone says like, how are you? And if I am having a hard day, or if there's something that like I should talk about or something going on, I'm always first say, I'm totally okay. Like, it's fine. I'm always telling people it's fine. Like, don't worry. Rather than just like breathing in and just being like, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't want them to worry. And I know I'll never get, or I say I will never get to those points again. And I really believe that I'll never get as low as I was.
No, and it seems like you're on a really good path with like from where you were, and you're trying new things, and obviously you seem to have a lot under control now.
Yeah.
And even understanding like your relationships with them and all that stuff, like obviously I think it's really only going to go up.
Yeah. I used to be like so sensitive about like the littlest things. I have actually a funny story that involves you.
Oh.
You were kind of a dick.
Yeah. That was
a few years ago or something. I remember like this is when we both probably like drank a lot and stuff.
Yeah.
I like knew you guys were having a party one night, like you and Jamie's house or something.
In Brookswood?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And like a girlfriend like told me about it or something. And I was like, oh, cool. Like I didn't hear about it though. And you texted me saying, hey, we're having a party tonight. Like come by. And then 2 minutes later, you replied saying, sorry, wrong number. And I heard you like did it on purpose. And I remember feeling so sad about that.
No, I said, sorry, wrong Meaghan Gipps. I think.
So I don't get that. Was that not supposed to be fun? Like no, I thought you were fucking with me.
I was.
But you were saying like, no, you're not, like, I'm not actually inviting you.
No, I don't actually remember what it was about.
Yeah, I remember being like, what a dick.
I don't remember it being about a party. I just remember.
That's so funny. You do remember it though, because I barely remember it. But I just remember being like, fuck.
I remember it because it's the only time I've ever done it, and I've always thought about like using that joke, not in the sense of like uninviting somebody to something. Like I did actually don't remember that I used it in that context, but I remember saying something, but then reply, because you know how people will text like and say someone messages me and then they were like, oh, actually, sorry, like wrong Shelby or whatever, because you have two of those names in your phone, right?
Yeah, but there's no other Meaghan.
Yeah, so it's because how the fuck could it be the wrong Meaghan Gipps? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, so like, I've been meaning, like, I don't know. Jamie and I were sitting there laughing so hard. I was like, man, like, because like I don't know. I just thought it was funny as hell, but I didn't remember the context that we used it in. So sorry,
little things
sorry
like
for
that.
that.
I was so sensitive. I remember telling Jamie and Shelby, Jamie and Connor once. Like I heard people like were making fun of Ride, which was, if anyone doesn't know, it was a clothing company. Like you got your bike stuff, but it was a clothing company. I remember telling them, like, I was, when I was going through this shit, I remember I was like, I heard people were like making fun of Ride, and I cried about it. And it was like, what is a clothing company? It's not even mine. And I was like, I was so sensitive. And that's when I was like, what I say, people have to like walk around eggshells or walk on eggshells. Cause like, why am I crying about a clothing company that I don't like? I'm like, it's not mine. And like, who gives a fuck? And I remember I loved Jamie because he was just like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care if people like hate me or like hate something I work for. And I was like, oh, good point. But like, you know what I mean? I was so sensitive about everything. Yeah. So yeah.
And yeah, people are usually pretty quick to judge too. So it's kind of a shitty thing to have to deal with in today's society, I guess. Because fuck, especially if you, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you are doing your own thing too, right? So I think that's one of the hard parts about having your own business too, is it's easy to get down on yourself because people, it doesn't even matter if you are doing something super cool. People will just shit on it because you are doing something cool and they're not, right?
Totally.
So that's, like a guy brought that up to us the other day. He's like, don't you ever worry like that people might say something like bad online? I'm like, because he was actually talking
about your podcast or about
well,
your
he was
company?
talking about the podcast. He's like, aren't you scared? Like, what if somebody says like what if someone posts some bad shit like or something? And I'm like, well, I don't fucking know. I'm like, people post bad shit every single day about my other company. Like we build a style of truck that not that many people like. And there's every day people are commenting saying, you ruined this fucking truck, thing's junk. Who would ever do that? Fuck it. And it's just funny. And it's like, and usually you go to those pages, like, you go to the guy who says that page and it's like some dude who has like a $500 car and like, I don't even know. And I'm just like,
and they're just, they like get off by like saying mean shit.
Yeah. They're just like, I don't know. And it's like, and I mean, that will probably happen here. Like someone's going to disagree with something I say or somebody says. And it's just kind of like, I don't know. I just
but it's
don't
great
really
to like,
care.
I know, and I used to be so sensitive, but now I like don't care about anything. Like, like I used to worry about what I post or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm just so comfortable with myself now. And it's so great to get here. And for anyone that's like so sensitive like I was and worried about what people think, like if people didn't like me or whatever, I hated that. But now I'm just like, it doesn't even cross my mind.
I think it's really hard to, I feel like I went through so many phases where like I would say I didn't give a fuck, but like now looking back, I still really gave a shit what people actually thought. It's like I was telling myself I didn't, but I did. And like right now, I think I finally feel like I actually don't care. Like I'm really, really close to like fully not giving a shit. But for a long time, it's like that would have been like in my asshole times. It's like, that's why I was an asshole. Cause like, well, one of the things is like, I just didn't, I don't know, like I would say I didn't care, but my way of not caring was just being a dick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
it's so interesting to see it in hindsight and like.
Yeah, it was because I kind of look back and I'm like, man, like basically anyone who said anything bad or if I thought like, if I thought I don't even know, if I wasn't comfortable or I don't know, I would just, pretty much just be an asshole to like overcome those feelings, I think. Yeah. Whereas now, like, I don't know, I just don't do that.
I know, yeah. Well, it's great to see. Like, I think it's important to look back at progress. Like when I went to therapy for like first time with this guy, the first thing I wrote in my notebook was, I'm so proud of like the progress I've made and who I've become and what I've learned through all this because I think it's just important to reflect on that. So like, go team.
It helps a lot. And like to be able to write, I think like writing down stuff for me, like really, like journaling and stuff's really helpful for me to write down like my daily thoughts, and not forget like the little progress and stuff like that, right? It's easy to, live a year and kind of forget what you've actually done.
Totally.
And I did live like that for a long time as well, where like just months would blow past where I'm like, I haven't done shit. And like, that's what I thought. But then I'd sit down and be like, holy shit, like I've done so much stuff in the past 3 months. And like, every time it was the same way, but it's really easy to just kind of like forget and just kind of live in autopilot and just blow through a year and not really experience it.
And yeah, like when I write stuff down, there's like when I just start writing, I'm like, oh, I didn't even know I felt that. And then all of a sudden it's just like pouring out. And I was like, oh, it's good to like write it down, because like don't even think I'd be able to like or know that I'm feeling this, or that, you know, I don't know.
Yeah. And I think like physically writing it is better. And like, even if you just set a time limit too, and just like write and just don't stop.
Yeah.
That helps a lot. Cause like, so especially,
don't overthink it.
Yeah, my overthinking would always kick in, and I'd be like, I'm like, who even fucking cares? Like, who's going to read this?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm writing to my fucking self, and I'm like scared to write. Doesn't even make sense. Right. So yeah, just setting a timer and going. Or have you ever tried like video journaling?
No.
So like you use your phone and just like video, like you're doing a story. And I was doing it, but then it just takes up so much memory on your phone. I mean, you can delete them obviously, but
I feel like I could do like an audio one, but like whenever there's like a camera, it's way more like,
it's cool.
Harder.
I found it like, I thought like, okay, I'll do one, and you know, each day will be like a minute or two. Like I'll just quickly talk about my day. They would be so long. Like it'd be like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And I would like, it was easier for it to flow than writing. I would just keep like blowing words out my mouth. And all of a sudden I'm like, holy shit, it's been like so long.
Right.
It's interesting. I would try it if you do journaling.
Yeah, definitely. It's way more valuable than.
It's cool to see like the difference.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The psych ward thing was like interesting to me.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think of more.
Because that's what I was always like freaked out about.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, I just always imagined like what it would be like in there, and like, I don't know, for some reason I was so scared of it.
Well, yeah, like I know, like I would be like lying in my bed at the psych ward, and like in the middle of the night, like somebody would be brought in there, and like, and it's just like, it's scary, because then all of a sudden, you like start feeling for other people, and you like see it in the bigger picture. Another way I think that is really helpful to like get through something is to help other people, like even just like volunteering, or like some sort of way. Like I think that's so like therapeutic in a way, which is like, yeah, I don't know.
So did you do that?
I mean, maybe I didn't. Oh my God, now that makes me sound bad. I don't know. Did I?
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, no, but I think I just read that somewhere else, and I was like, that totally makes sense. Like helping people. I don't know. But now I realized I didn't do that. So maybe.
Well, now you have to try it.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it depends too. Like that's something, I don't know. I feel like everyone has their own way of helping. Because I get a lot of people who reach out and ask for like donations, or, hey, do you want to come do this or that? And I'm just kind of like, fuck, like I feel bad because I want to help, and like, you know, I'm not strapped for money. So like for me to give $50 or $100 is okay. But it does add up fast, right? Where like,
totally.
And I second guess that stuff a lot, because like, where's my money going?
Yeah, you want to know, like,
you know, and it's not like I'm like think they're gonna spend it on fucking drugs or something, but like still, like, I don't know. And like say there's a family that needs help, and then the person organizing to get the money, and then they're asking me and all these other people for money. So like, I don't know. I just feel like everyone's opinion, like what I like, and I never really know much about the family. Like I'd rather give a gift that is like helpful and could help them learn and make it on their own.
Totally.
Like I don't want to just like fork out my money for them to need another fork out. I want to give it
that's long term kind of thing
that can help them build their own life and make it on their own, right? Like that would be the point. But I never know enough about the family. It's just like, hey, this family's struggling, and I'm like, okay, like, but what do they need?
Yeah.
And then everyone's opinion on that's different too. So like the person who's asking for the money might think they need this. Like, you know, the mom or the dad's going to think something. The kid's going to think he needs something different. So then who's right?
Yeah, you never know.
So I think it just like gets confusing, and I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't really make sense to me to help that way. Like I would rather,
ways,
like I always, you know, like I have people over all the time. Like I show them how to make dinner. We like make proper meals, and like I pay for all the food, and it's $200, and they take it with them. And it's like, I would rather give someone those skills that like now they can go home and cook and do
That is great,
do
honestly.
anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Not
So-
just giving money or but giving time. I like
Yeah,
that, yeah.
I'm more of like a time person, I think, and like I like meeting with people and just because a lot of people are nervous to come on here and like share their stuff, but I do meet with a lot of people in person as well and just like talk through my story and what they're going through. I have people that call me pretty regularly and like they're just like, hey man, I'm fucked up again, like whatever, and I think that's what I like helping with because I can like just give advice and see them make progress and stuff like that. I'm not really into the like money thing.
Do you, I might be filming with a guy soon and who messaged me about him going through depression and being a male, and it's kind of like a man up kind of thing.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that? Like, can you relate to that at all in the sense of, men in this time, maybe not as much now, are more told to just, suck it up?
Yeah, like I was definitely like that growing up. I don't know. It was always kind of just like suck it up, you're fine, take a pill or just go to work. You'll be good. And yeah, I lived like that for a long time. Especially in the trades. Like I think it depends like maybe where you work and what your family's like as well,
totally.
right? Like, and especially like I come from a background of like a family all working in the trades and then like dirt biking, like more extreme sports, and like everyone kind of in that scene is like they're tried to be seen as like hardcore guys, you know?
Right, you're not supposed to show weakness. It's almost
it's always like who's the toughest, the fastest, has the coolest cars and all this shit. So it was, I think the hardest part for me wasn't really, I don't think it was really maybe manning, or I don't know, like the manning up thing, but it was actually like switching my lifestyle from that. Like it got to the point where my life got so bad that I had to like, it was really hard for me to give up that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because that's what I knew, right? I was like, okay, I got to be this hardcore guy and all this shit, but to give that up and do things like go to yoga and other stuff, right? Like that's kind of seen as like, I don't know, like 4 years ago, if I were to like said I'm going to yoga, like that's just kind of like weird.
Yeah, you'd almost like laugh at it, which I think is great that you have this podcast as like a guy who, like car shop and like you're like, I don't know, you just from the outside, you seem like that typical like. Yeah,
I like that typical guy, I guess.
That sounds bad. No.
Yeah.
But like, it's not just something that like it's a week for girls or for whatever.
Yeah. And like what I like is that I still do, I mean, I shouldn't say I gave up my lifestyle, but I opened up to a new way of life as well, right? Because I still do those things. I go ride mountain bikes and dirt bike and ride motorcycles and do the stuff that I love, but then I also do yoga before I go or I meditate or whatever. So it's like cool to, and I think it just obviously allows your life to be so much better. And some of the people that I've met, like when I first started posting about it, they were in the same industry, right? Guys who drifted cars and did all the things that I did. And I've met quite a few people through that.
Well, it's inspiring for them to read that.
Because a lot of them are like, man, like my friends never talk about this shit. They're all like so hardcore and like I never know what to say and like all that kind of stuff. So I have made good connections through that, which is cool. And I think even people who maybe aren't suffering that bad, like just like diet, nutrition, and little lifestyle choices. Like if you are a professional athlete or a race car driver, motocross person, like it can enhance like everything that you're doing, right?
Totally.
So it can just make you become better, even if you're not necessarily dying from anxiety. So, because I think a lot of those kind of people just blow it off where they're like, oh fuck, I just need to race, do all this shit, when you could add other things in that will actually be a lot more beneficial.
Yeah. Totally. Oh yeah, I could like talk about my like the sexual assault story. Like I've never really like talked about it openly. Like because I talk about like my mental health stuff on like Instagram and stuff. I don't mind opening up about that, but if it has nothing to do with this.
I was gonna say like like I'm not like I wasn't gonna ask you to do that. Obviously, I'm not gonna try like force you to talk about something. But yeah, it's totally up to you if you want to talk. It doesn't have to be like. That's the other thing. I was like the podcast doesn't like. Everyone who kind of reaches like, does it have to be about mental health? I'm like, no, it doesn't. Right. It just has to be about your story and what you've gone through and like really how just crazy it is growing up as a millennial and all the shit that can, that people go through.
Yeah. Well, I think it is kind of interesting because it is kind of a crazy story because I was in Mexico and I was like, and you hear these stories and I feel like a lot of people just kind of roll their eyes, but like they really fucking happen. And like, and it's really scary. Like, and it's not just Mexico, it's all over the world. So like, that's nothing to do with the Mexico.
Don't go to Mexico ever.
Yeah, no, but like, I was drugged in a club. Like I only had a few drinks before and you know how Jamie said like he has those like slivers of memory?
Yeah.
I was listening to his episode. It was like, I'm assuming because I was drugged, the memory is so like fuzzy and blurry, but I have these like slivers of memory and it's like really fucked up. Oh, like maybe a trigger warning for anyone who like has gone through it or like doesn't, I don't know. Cause I know like it's really intense shit. So just like FYI, and Mom, if you're listening, stop listening. I woke up in a hotel room of somebody who was Mexican. Like it wasn't like at the resort or whatever.
Yeah. So who were you that you were staying with? Obviously like friends and stuff.
This is like the so fucked up part. I was at the resort for my mom's birthday. Okay. And so it was like near the end of the trip, like the end of the week in Mexico. And I met all these like fun people at dinner and they have nothing to do with the shit that happened. But, and they were all like, yeah, we're going to, have you been to Mexico?
I've been a couple times. I feel like there's
like a main club.
I feel like there's a club that everybody posts a story in. You know, there's
and it was that one. There's multiple levels if anyone's been there. Usually like a lineup outside. I forget what it's called. And these people were like, yeah, like come out with us tonight or whatever. And like I spent the whole week with my mom. It was amazing. But I was just like, yeah, maybe I'll go like have some fun or whatever. This was like the year before. Like, this was when I was already going through some shit. So like my hair was blue on one side and pink on the other, which is fine. But like, it was just a crazy time. And, we went out that night and like, they were like the kindest group of people. Like they were really fun, but, I don't know. I went to the club and then all of a sudden I woke up in this like creepy fucking dingy hotel room, with the guy had turned on porn and made me watch it, but I have like slivers of memory. So
in the morning.
No, this was like that night.
Oh, but you remember that.
Yeah. So I have a sliver of memory of the porn being on the TV and me being on the bed and like him assaulting me. And then the next like sliver of memory. So then it's just like completely jumps and I'm in a car and the car is filled with men and I'm on top of someone and he was assaulting me. It's like, this is like crazy shit. And I never really opened up to like many of my friends about it because this was already when I was like screaming for help for so many things. And I felt already thought I wanted attention. Yeah. You know, because everything else in my life was great. And so I felt like even when my friends was like, why are you like so depressed or whatever? Like nothing's going on. You have a great life. Right. Yeah. And so I didn't want to like come home with this fucking story again. Yeah. And like for people to be like, oh well, yeah, I'm sure, you know, like so many people don't believe this sexual assault stuff. And it's like really scary.
Well, I feel like just in your situation, it's kind of like, what's that saying my grandpa used to always say, like the boy who cries wolf or something. Yeah, and it's not like, it just gets to that point where like you do it enough times that people are just kind of like, oh, like whatever. And they play it off. And then when something really serious does happen, then it's really tough because who do you lean on? Yeah. And I used to like call my friends if I was like upset and, you know, call them all the time and like, I would never do that kind of thing now. Anyways, but so I didn't want it to be another one of those things where I get home and there's another issue that my like friends have to deal with. But yeah, so I woke up in that car and I was on top of a guy and I assume they all like, I don't know, maybe they all, but I only remember the sliver of like me being on top of this guy and I was like, I could feel myself coming back to reality and like understanding what the fuck was going on. Yeah. And so I like tried to like get out and I got out of the car. It's like so blurry. Like lost my wallet that night. Luckily I didn't have my passport with me. I don't think I brought my phone out that night, but I lost everything. I had no cash on me. And I remember just like falling out of the car and like running to the streets, like in some random area. Like you had no idea where you were. I had no idea where I was. I saw a cab and I like flagged him down and I was like, I have no money. And I was like barely with it, but like, I still remember this. I was like, I have no money, but like, I need help. Like I couldn't even say raped or like assaulted because I was just so in shock. I was just like something happened. Like I need help. Can you please drive me to my resort? Like, thankfully I knew my resort name and I was like, I have no money. And like this guy still drove me, which was nice. Yeah. But then after that I went straight to the
front desk at the resort, and I was like bawling my eyes out. And I was like, I just got sexually assaulted. Like I just got raped, multiple people. Like I was clearly distraught. And this guy at the front desk, all he has to say is like, sweetie, this isn't America. Because he obviously thought I was like American. Yeah. He was like, this isn't America. Like there's nothing we're gonna do. Like, he was just kind of like brushing it off. Yeah. And just kind of like, I kind of feel like he was like, well, you're drunk, kind of like. Like
you're
just go to bed, like whatever. And I was like, what? So do I not like go to the hospital? Like I thought like that was like protocol, but they were just like, no, like they just, I don't know, they were so freaking rude. And so that was the first person that I ever like really opened up to, was just this front desk guy saying that it was a problem. And he was already like not believing me, it felt like, and saying it's like not my fault, but like it was,
there's nothing they can do.
Yeah. So
fuck, I can't even imagine how you felt.
Yeah. And so, but ever since after that day, like, also I feel so bad because it was on the trip with my mom, and I was like, I can't tell my mom. Yeah. Because I don't want to ruin a trip, and I've already put her through so much of my like depressing bullshit and making her worry all the time. I'm not telling her. Yeah. So yeah. And so ever since then, I like I went home and like I told like Tessa and like maybe like one other friend or something, and like I went to like the doctors and like made sure I was like clean and everything, which I was. Like if I wasn't, then I'd probably have fucking panic, like so many panic attacks. But but I was like fine that way. So I went to the police there in Burnaby or wherever I was, and they were just like, there's obviously nothing we can really do because it was Mexico. Yeah, exactly. But so I don't know if anything I can say is like when people like open up to you about something like that, I don't know, just like be there for them. Because, and I remember when I talked to Tessa about it and whoever else I told about it, I like totally disassociated, or I can't even say that word still, but I didn't cry about it. You know, I was just like, I don't want to deal with it. And so like for years I didn't deal with that trauma, because that's traumatic. Yeah, but I 100%. Always thought this is only bad because I've been told in movies and books that like rape is bad and it'll fuck you up for a long time. But I'm like, I'm not going to let it fuck me up. So like I didn't, honestly. Yeah. But I'm sure like deep down it did. And so then when I went to therapy and I like read that story to him, and then I like bawled my eyes out, I was like, wait, I still like, I think that kind of did fuck me up.
So did you guys dig into that more?
Like in therapy? Yeah. Maybe how it like affects my relationships now or lack thereof. Yeah. So, and how I see men.
But so the therapy was helpful with it.
Yeah, I think it was good for me to like I said, to talk about something you don't want to talk about because, and I just went in thinking like, oh, I'm supposed to talk about this in therapy. You're supposed to talk about traumatic things, even though I didn't find it traumatic because I didn't want to have another thing go wrong with me, because I already had these things. I was already like trying to kill myself and blah, blah, blah. And I was known like by like my friend group for being that person. So I was like, I'm just going to pretend this didn't happen. And, you know, so I think just reading it out loud and, he's, you know, I was more mad. I'm mad that those guys did that, and I'm mad that they're going to do it again, especially there's multiple in a group. Like they probably have some sort of system where they go to the club and like drug someone or whatever and take them. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, that's super scary. Yeah. I mean, like I've heard a lot of people's stories about that kind of stuff, but it's usually like, I mean, not that it's any better where it happens, but like, you know, even just being in your own country and then being over there is like that much scarier, right? You literally have no idea where you are. You have like, I don't know. I just feel like that's a super extreme. And he said since the first person I talked to about it, which is the front desk guy, the first person did not give me comfort, did not show emotion or like say like, I'm so sorry that happened to you or like anything. So now I think like I don't know, maybe like why I don't have troubles opening up now still about if I'm having a hard day is because I'm just scared that someone's going to dismiss it. And, you know, so. Yeah. And I feel like in your scenario for so long, like since it got to the point where people just kind of blow it off, it's like if you are actually having, you know, a bad day or whatever and you talk about it, they're just going to be like, whatever. Yeah, exactly. You know? I felt like a broken record. Oh, this is another bad thing that's happening to me. And I was like, I don't want to deal with it. So like, I also noticed that like usually it's funny to pay attention to things like that when, you know, people say like, oh, how are you doing? Like most people don't actually say how they're doing. No, they're, you know what I mean? It's just such a common like, yeah, good. And it's like,
are you though? Like I say it all the time when I'm like, oh yeah, I'm good, but like I'm not.
No, yeah, but you don't want to talk about it, or like you don't think they want to hear it. Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes like I just don't feel like explaining it, and sometimes, I think maybe it's a lot for that person. Like, like I didn't meet up with them because I just wanted to like talk about some shit right now. I don't know. So sometimes it's kind of like whether you personally feel like talking about it. And then sometimes for me, it's also a block of like, do they want to? Right. Or sometimes people aren't even open. Sometimes I do open up and just be like, yeah, like, honestly, man, like I'm not good. I've been fucked up the past couple like days. I'm not feeling good, blah, blah, blah. And then they're kind of like, sometimes they don't even know what to say.
Exactly. But I realized like lately, but I was like, it's not just that they're supposed to give advice. Like I used to be like, I don't want to talk to someone because I don't want them to give me advice because I don't think any advice is going to help, frankly. But I realized that just letting it out and just saying it is way more important than just like worried about the advice or whatever they're going to say. Like you have to just like spit it out.
Just let them listen.
Yeah.
And I feel like even for me, it's uncomfortable to talk. Like I never know what to say. I always feel like I have to say something that's like helpful or meaningful or and it's hard. Like I've had a couple friends recently deal with like deaths of their parents. And
like what do you say to that?
Like 3 or 4 people recently, and
holy shit.
I just don't know. Like it literally at one point I Googled what do you say to people when their parent dies, and like I just had no clue. I'm like, man, like, and I don't know, there's nothing that I can say that can help. And I've never been in that situation before. Right. So it's just like, I don't know. And like, as much as I feel like I really want to help them, I just have no clue. Like, so basically, I don't know. I still don't know what to say. Googling it didn't really help that much, but I'm just kind of like, I don't know. And I'm scared I'm going to say the wrong thing and then they might be upset or.
I feel like I used to be so good at giving advice, like when people had issues, but now, same. I've literally no idea what to say. And I feel like a lot of people like don't even want to be told what to like feel and I mean, not that that's what advice is, but like I said, it's just, I think it's more important for them to just say it out loud or for you to just say it aloud to somebody. Yeah.
I think,
so you feel less anxious.
Yeah. And like a friend was in the like been in and out while his dad's in the hospital, and I went there to see them, and I was nervous because I was like, fuck, like what's I don't know, like I wasn't sure what state his dad was in, and I with him, and like, are we going to be sitting there, and like I don't know, what's it going to be like, and I was scared like I might not know what to say and all these kinds of things, and we were sitting. We just like saw his dad for a bit, and then we went out and sat in this like just the waiting room, and we were talking, and he hadn't told me the whole story yet about what happened. So he started talking about it, and then like we were just talking normally, and then he started explaining the story a little bit more, and then he just burst out crying, and I was just like, fuck. Instantly, I was so scared. I'm like, okay, like what the hell do I do? Like
you don't want to give nothing to
and I feel like at that point I always want to say something, and like I'm always really scared of like touching people or something. I don't know, but I just was like, fuck it. I don't even like, because we were sitting across from each other. I just like moved over and sat beside him and just put my arm around him, and I was just like, I didn't even know what to say. I'm like, I don't even have to say anything. I just held him, and like, I don't know. That was comforting for me too. Like it just felt good to do that, and I didn't feel like I had to say anything. I was just like, whatever, and like. If I were to put myself in that situation, I think like that's all that I would want.
Yeah,
like,
sometimes you don't want.
I don't need some like I feel like I wouldn't need somebody to sit there and try and tell me like it's gonna be fine or whatever is gonna happen.
Sometimes you don't want to hear that.
Like, I'm almost. Like, man, like I'm just like fuck. I don't need to hear any more shit. Can you just shut up and listen to me and like give me a hug or something, right?
Or just sit there with me, or like sometimes like just sit and watch TV with your friend, or maybe like play a board game, or like go for a walk, and you don't have to talk about the crap you're going through. Sometimes that's nice. For you.
That's the other thing too, is like when people are going through that stuff, I can be like, if you want to talk, I'm happy to talk. Or if you want to just sit there in complete silence, I'll just fucking sit. I don't have to say anything. Like that used to weird me out like a lot. It would be silent. I'm like, fuck, like this is awkward. And now I'm like, I don't care. Like, and that's a good trait in a friend too, right? Is someone who like can talk, you can talk to them, but also someone who you can sit there with in complete silence and not
it's like,
feel
I love
weird about.
comfortable silence. Like,
Yeah.
when I have that with a friend, I'm like, this is it.
Yeah. You're just sitting and it's like, yeah. So I don't know. Something that like maybe I'll get better at as the time goes by. But I think,
no, I think you're doing great with how you help people. I think the little things are helpful too.
Yeah.
And the fact that you care, the fact that you're having that conversation in your head is, how do I help this? I don't know what to do. Like,
yeah, true.
I don't know. I think that shows something about you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Okay. So I just want to like, before we end it, talk about privilege that I have, and a lot of, maybe other people have with, a lot of people don't have the help or the education or the understanding. They don't have the emotional support. They don't have the financial support, to get through mental illness. I am so lucky that I had parents that were there for me, emotionally and financially. I never had to worry about how much medication costs. It hit me one day when I was in the kitchen and I saw like a bill on the table, and it was like an ambulance bill. Because I took a few ambulances in my time.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's a lot better here than it is in like America or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, it adds up regardless. And I had never even crossed my mind that ambulances cost money. Like, I'm dumb.
I don't think many people know that actually.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't know either. And my grandma had to take one time. I remember my parents bitching about, I don't even know, fucking bitching about the bill or some shit.
Yeah.
I don't even know. But that's the first time that I knew, yeah.
Yeah, but the fact that it didn't even cross my mind.
Yeah.
And my parents didn't bring it up to me. They, they understood that this is like an illness, and they would totally like support me through that.
Yeah.
And then, I think it's important to recognize your privilege, because so many people, don't have that. So if anyone doesn't have that, emotionally, I'd love to help you, financially as much as I can. But yeah, I think it's important. Or if anyone I think it's just important to recognize it.
Yeah. No, it's something that I think about a lot, is like, because I believe in a more like holistic approach to things. I don't think that you shouldn't take medication. I think like, obviously it's there, but I think like, just like, to me, yoga is a holistic approach, right? Like totally. Doing that and doing all the, the other things you are, journaling, like all that stuff is like, falls into it.
Yeah, there's other ways for sure.
Yoga is expensive.
Yeah, it is.
And like, some people can't even do that. And I was super privileged as well with everything I went through, right? Like I had, my parents had no idea what to do or what was going on, but they wanted to know. And, my grandpa helped out a lot, paying for a lot of the stuff that I had to do. And if I wasn't able to do that, I don't know what would have happened.
Yeah. And it never crossed my mind till recently. Like,
yeah. And I mean, I had, like I luckily had my business at that point too, which was like pulling some money in, and like I had the freedom. I didn't have to try and go to work every day.
Right. Yeah.
All those kinds of things that allowed me to do that. But, how do other people afford that? Right. Like so many people, especially living out here, like they're just trying to get by.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. They're just trying to put food on their table sometimes. It's like,
yeah. Well, not everyone, but most people are pretty like paycheck to paycheck-ish, and it's just priorities and stuff too, right? Most people would rather spend $200 on beer and food than other things. But I mean, I don't know, even when you do get to that point and you're ready to do it, the money is usually a problem.
Yeah. And Canada's a bit better, but like America, like I was watching this show Shameless, and and like, if you don't have money or whatever, it's so hard to get help. Like, it's getting better, but like,
because there, even the normal medical system is expensive, and here, like anything holistic is never covered. Like you want to go see a naturopath, like the one in Fort Langley, you're like minimum $500 by the time you get in for a consultation.
You just, I just want to be happy again and have energy, and it's like so much.
So it's hard. And I always kind of think about it, because like there's got to be, I don't know. I think eventually things will start getting covered. But I don't know. And like, there's a lot of like live-in places too that you can go to that are like, my naturopath just opened one, and it's all live-in, and you go, and I don't know, but I found one other one in Alberta, and it's like $15,000 a month. Yeah. So it's like, who the fuck can ever afford that?
Yeah. And it's like when people don't get help, that's how they end up doing drugs. That's how they end up on the streets. Like, so when they don't have, You know, like if I didn't have the, like maybe I would be there, you know, maybe I'd be abusing drugs. Maybe I'd be,
it could be a lot worse.
Yeah. So
yeah, I don't know.
Hopefully, end on that note, but
hopefully someday there'll be some sort of support system for all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Well, yeah. Thanks for coming on the show. That's a lot that I'd like to open up about and share that stuff. I think it's going to be helpful for a lot of people.
Also, it took me like 3 times to spell mental millennials right on the podcast. So.
Yeah.
Embarrassing.
I could barely, I finally can, it's millennials. That's like, there's 2 L's and then 2 N's or something. I don't know.
Confusing. So.
It auto does it on my phone all the time now, but
that was funny.
Yeah. No, thanks for coming out. And yeah, I'm sure we'll probably do another one in the future.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.